Somewhere in Georgia right now, a Hyundai dealer is taking a deposit on a car that has not left the factory yet. Not a rare hypercar, not a limited edition, a mid-size electric SUV. That is what happens when demand outruns supply, and it is happening on 7 different EVs at once in the whole world. Last time I showed you EVs piling up on dealer lots, sitting there for months, giving buyers every ounce of leverage. This video is the opposite story. These are the electric vehicles moving so fast that the leverage has quietly shifted back to the dealer. Strong demand, sharp pricing, and in more than one case, genuinely limited supply. The combination that turns a car lot from a buyer's market into a seller's market overnight. And once inventory tightens, the conversation changes completely. You stop asking, how much can I knock off the price? And start asking, is there even one of these within driving distance? 7 EVs, counting down to the one dealers cannot keep on the lot no matter how hard they try. Let's get into it. And I want to be upfront about something before we start. Not every car on this list is selling fast for the same reason. Some are moving because buyers genuinely can't get enough of them. Others are moving because there just aren't that many being built in the first place. These are 2 very different situations, and knowing which one you're dealing with changes how you should walk into a dealership. Number 7. Ford Mustang Mach-E. We start with a car that, by EV standards, is starting to show its age, and it is still finding buyers anyway. The Mustang Mach-E has been on sale since 2021, which in EV years is closer to a decade than a few seasons. Newer, flashier electric SUVs have launched around it constantly, and yet Ford keeps finding ways to keep it relevant. Pricing adjustments, software updates, and a steady stream of incentives that make the math work for shoppers cross-shopping newer metal. The current lineup starts at $37,795 for the Select trim, with the Premium adding heated and ventilated seats and a nicer interior, and the GT pushing 0 to 60 down into supercar territory at around 3.3 seconds. Range tops out near 320 miles on the Premium Extended Range model. Respectable, not class-leading, but paired with real incentives right now. 0% APR for 36 months, deferred payments up to 90 days, and bonus cash on top. Here's what I find genuinely impressive about this one. A 5-year-old EV platform is still moving metal against vehicles that didn't exist when it launched. The Mach-E proves that an established EV doesn't need to be the newest thing in the room to stay relevant. It just needs Ford to keep sharpening the deal. Number 6. Cadillac Optiq. While several premium EVs have been gathering dust on dealer lots, Cadillac's smaller electric SUV has become the brand's quiet bright spot. The Optiq starts at $50,900 and delivers an EPA-estimated 317 miles of range in rear-wheel drive form. Along with Super Cruise hands-free driving, the same system Cadillac puts in Escalades that cost twice as much, and an interior that genuinely competes with the German luxury brands on materials and tech, including a 33-inch Horizon display. What makes the Optiq interesting isn't the spec sheet, it's who's buying it. A meaningful chunk of Optiq buyers are walking away from BMW, Mercedes, and Audi to get one, and stealing a customer from a German luxury brand is about as valuable a sale as an American automaker can make right now. I'll be honest, this is the one on the list I didn't expect to be talking about. Cadillac spent years being the punchline in EV conversations. Big, heavy, unconvincing efforts that never quite landed. This is the car quietly rewriting that reputation, one conquest sale at a time. And there's something almost funny about it. The vehicle finally proving Cadillac can compete isn't the flagship. It's the smallest, most accessible thing in the lineup. If you're shopping for one, know this. The Optiq isn't sold out, and there's still some room to negotiate. But they're negotiating against the one product line in Cadillac's showroom that's actually winning right now. So don't expect the salesperson to fold easily. Cadillac may have finally found the sweet spot between luxury, technology, and price, and it took a smaller, cheaper SUV to do it. Number 5. BMW i4. The i4 takes the opposite approach from almost everything else on this list. It doesn't try to look or feel experimental. It just feels like a BMW that happens to run on electrons. Pricing ranges from $59,250 to $72,050, depending on the trim, with a range between 278 and 333 miles across the lineup. The base eDrive 40 makes 335 horsepower through the rear wheels. The xDrive 40 adds all-wheel drive and 396 horsepower, and the range-topping M60 makes 592 horsepower and will hit 60 miles in around 3.3 seconds. quicker than plenty of gas-powered performance sedans. What actually sells this car is familiarity. The suspension feel, the steering weight, the way the cabin is laid out. It's all recognizably BMW. For a traditional luxury buyer who's curious about going electric but nervous about it feeling foreign, that familiarity does more selling than any spec sheet number. Sometimes what EV buyers want most isn't the newest technology, it's the reassurance that the car still feels like the brand they already trust. I think that's genuinely underrated as a sales strategy. Every automaker wants to talk about how revolutionary their EV is. BMW basically said, ours isn't revolutionary, it's just a really good BMW. And apparently for a lot of buyers stepping out of a gas 3 Series or 4 Series, that's precisely the pitch that works. Number 4. Rivian R2. This is where the story shifts from everybody wants this to there simply aren't enough of them. Rivian is adding production shifts at its Illinois plant to keep pace with R2 demand. And when a manufacturer starts adding shifts, that's about the clearest signal you'll get that a product is outrunning the factory that builds it. The R2 starts at $44,990 for the standard trim, with an estimated 275 miles of range, climbing to the performance trim's 330 miles, 656 horsepower, and a 3.6-second sprint to 60, all while bringing Rivian's adventure brand identity, 90 cubic feet of total storage, a 9.6-inch ground clearance, semi-active suspension on the performance model, down to a price tens of thousands below the R1S. I have to say, watching Rivian go from channel discussed how close this company came to running out of money to we're adding shifts because we can't build these fast enough is one of the more interesting turnarounds in this entire industry right now. When a brand new model is arriving faster than the factory can build it, there's almost nothing left to negotiate. Patience becomes your only real lever. There's also a bigger story hiding inside this one. Rivian's direct sales model means there was never really a haggling counter to begin with. So the R2's tight supply doesn't just limit your leverage, it removes the conversation entirely. If the badge and the adventure styling are what you're after, buy now and buy near sticker. If you're more interested in value, the cheaper standard trim arrives later, and pressure on the higher trims should ease up once the lineup fills out. If you've made it this far, go ahead and subscribe now because the next one on this list is the whole reason I made this video. Number 3. Chevrolet Equinox EV. This might be the most quietly important EV Chevrolet builds because it's not chasing a halo, it's chasing volume. The Equinox EV starts at $34,995, which makes it one of the most affordable ways into a genuinely usable electric SUV in America. 319 miles of EPA estimated range on the front-wheel drive LT1, a 17.7-inch touchscreen that's among the largest in its class, over 20 standard safety and driver assistance features, and available Super Cruise on higher trims. Add Chevrolet's dealer network, which dwarfs what most EV-only startups can offer for service and parts availability. And you've got a formula that's hard to compete with on paper. You don't need exotic battery chemistry or 1,000 horsepower to move an EV in this market. You'll need the right size, the right price, and a dealer down the street who can actually service it, and that's exactly what the Equinox EV is betting on. You don't need to reinvent the wheel to sell an EV. You need to build the right product at the right price and let the math do the convincing. What I find most telling about the Equinox EV is who it's competing with. It's not really trying to beat the Model Y on brand catch or the Ioniq 5 on charging speed. It's trying to beat every gas-powered compact SUV sitting on the same lot, on payment alone. That's a completely different fight than the one most EVs are picking, and it might be the smarter one. Number 2. Tesla Model Y. The Model Y remains the number everyone else in this segment is measured against, and it's still not close. At 321 miles of EPA estimated range, a 5-star safety rating, 74 cubic feet of total cargo space, and a 6.8-second sprint to 60 on the base rear-wheel drive version, the Model Y combines Tesla's manufacturing scale with genuinely excellent efficiency and a supercharger network, over 80,000 stations globally, that most competitors still can't match. Financing offers like 0.99% APR sweeten the deal further, and unlike everything else on this list, the price you see is the price everyone pays. There's no salesperson to negotiate with in the back office. The last part matters more than people realize. With Tesla, your leverage isn't thin. It's structurally non-existent by design. that replaces haggling is timing. Watching for the incentive windows Tesla opens and closes without warning, and moving when one shows up instead of waiting for a better one that may never come. Years after launch, competitors still haven't found an easy way to knock the Model Y off its pedestal, and Tesla's direct sales model means there was never really a negotiating table to sit at in the first place. There's also a quieter advantage buried in those numbers. Tesla carries some of the leanest inventory of any major automaker, cycling through stock in roughly 30 days. Combine that with a fixed published price, and you get a buying experience that looks less like a negotiation and more like checking a flight price before it changes. And coming in at number 1, Hyundai Ioniq 5. And at number 1, sitting in a category by itself, is the Hyundai Ioniq 5, because this isn't a story about strong sales. It's a story about dealers physically running out of cars. Reports out of dealerships across the country describe buyers putting down deposits Ioniq 5s that haven't even arrived on the lot yet, paying up front simply just because waiting for one to show up isn't working. That's the strongest signal you'll find anywhere in this segment. The Ioniq 5 pairs breathtaking design with genuinely advanced tech. A 12.25-inch dual display setup that blends the infotainment screen and digital cluster, vehicle-to-load capability that lets the car power your gear, a 360 surround view monitor, and a spacious minimalist cabin that doesn't feel like every other crossover in a school pickup line. What tipped this from popular into buyers are preparing for cars that don't exist yet is simple. When the federal tax credit disappeared, Hyundai didn't sit back and watch sales slide. It cut prices and absorbed the difference itself to keep the Ioniq 5 within reach. The result is a car that's pulling a huge share of buyers straight out of other brands entirely, and a production line that genuinely cannot keep pace with how many people want one. Honestly, out of everything on this list, this is the one that surprised me most. Cars sell out because of hype all the time. It's rare to see one sell out because the manufacturer made it such a good deal to walk away from. The Ioniq 5 doesn't need to convince anybody it's a good EV anymore. The only real challenge left is getting the exact one you want onto an actual lot. If you're shopping this one, change your strategy entirely. Don't waste time chasing a discount that isn't there. Chase availability instead. Widen your search radius, stay flexible on trim and color, and ask your dealer about getting your name on an allocation rather than waiting for a restock naturally. That's how you actually get one of these before the person behind you does. Here's why dealers have the advantage. There's a real difference between an EV that's moving fast because demand is enormous and one that's hard to find because the manufacturer simply isn't building enough of them. The Model Y and the Ioniq 5 are the first kind. The market voted, and the market won. The R2 leans toward the second, production trying to catch up to an appetite. But from where you're standing as a buyer, both situations land the same way. Less inventory on the lot means less leverage in your hands. Before you walk into your next EV negotiation, don't check the MSRP. Check how many are actually sitting on the lot and how fast they're disappearing. That one number will tell you more about your negotiating power than anything a salesperson says to your face. Here's the pattern worth remembering across all 7 of these. The Ioniq 5, the Model Y, the Optiq, and the Equinox EV are winning because the product and the price genuinely convince people. Your best move there is to take every factory incentive on offer. Cross-shop dealers against each other and accept that the sticker price is close to the real price. The R2, and to a lesser extent the Mach-E and i4, sit in trickier territory, where limited builds or refreshed designs means simply finding the right unit is half the battle. Either way, the old approach of walking in and expecting a big discount just because it's an EV doesn't hold up anymore, not even on these 7. If this rundown changed how you're thinking about your next EV shopping trip, subscribe for the next one because the inventory shifts fast in this market, and next month's list could look completely different.